I am assuming we are live and good to go. So welcome to another episode of Tarot and Tea, my live vlog where I share some messages for the collective by pulling some cards and just tuning into the collective energies and spirit, whatever wants to come through. And then I give you a little personal update, which is the tea portion about what's going on in my life. As always, you don't have to stick around for it all. Take what you need and leave the rest. But just in case you don't know me, I am Safrianna, Luna, the Queer Spirit Guide. I am a Druidic Priestess of Brigid and a transformational mentor, author, speaker, multi-passionate human, and unicorn in human form. And I love pulling cards for the collective. I have actually been thinking so much recently about how much joy it brings me to have these moments to tune in and how much I love just having opportunities to receive divine downloads and messages for individuals, for myself, for the collective. So let's see what the frequency of the week is. Is romantic love. So the frequency of romantic love supports our journey to feel whole and complete through the experience with and reflection of a conscious lover. Now, if you are unpartnered and you are not interested in being partnered, this can still be for you. If you are currently partnered or seeking partnership, also for you. Regardless of whether this is a relationship, a romantic sense of self, fulfillment, kundalini rising energy within ourselves, or this is the conscious expression with another person, we're being invited this week as we move towards this very dreamy lunar eclipse in Pisces ahead to romanticize about life a little bit. How good could it get? How much more could we love and play and experience joy and pleasure? And that is really what this frequency wants to call us into. This beautiful pink and red flower surrounded by little bits of violet and all this blue. You know, how can you bloom within yourself and or also bloom with another? And how can you deepen your relationship to love, to inner communion, and a sense of outer harmony or communion with the world? So that's what I'm receiving from our romantic love frequency here. Now, let's get a little bit more context in terms of our tarot here. What is our message for the collective for this week? What do we need to be aware of, paying attention to? The Four of Swords. So, Four of Swords here, he's looking very contemplative, right? Gazing out and beholding the world as one sword sits in his lap and three others actually making an upside down Awen symbol, which is the symbol of inspiration and creativity. These three swords are lying in wait, right? Are they going to be used? Are they not going to be used? What is their purpose? So this is really a card of retreat and rest and taking solace. So sure, he's clearly thinking about something, but he is taking the time in himself, in the solace of nature, to do this. He's sitting in this tree. You can kind of make out that he appears as though he might be very high up. Like he is up in the mountains. He is away from everyone and everything. And he's taking this time for himself to really confront and stand up and be with what's inside him, not the rest of the world right now. This is a time, and I really feel this is leading us up to this Pisces eclipse. It's like we're being asked to use this opportunity to retreat and restore something in ourselves. Restore is the word that's coming through really powerfully right now. But the book says it's possible that you've been through a period of difficulty, conflict, or intense work that has been stressful, and now you're seeking solace and respite. Now is a good time for retreat and to focus on spiritual practices that revitalize your soul. So if you feel like you've been going through an ordeal recently, this is saying take the step back in your ordeal to really be in this still point for a moment. What's shifting? What's changing? What's transforming before your very eyes in your life? And pause around that, because you're going to be asked to integrate the lessons as we approach this eclipse. Because if you don't, you're going to repeat the same lesson bigger next time, right? I really believe that, because I've seen it. I've seen it again and again and again, myself and clients. When we show up for the lesson and we are present to it and we hear it and we see it and we acknowledge it and we integrate it, we still circle back in the future to the same issue, because that's called being human. And we all have these core wounds and themes that will circle again and again. And it's in taking this Four of Swords step back to really feel it, to have a time of rest and ability to digest life, that we are able to take it to the next level next time and not go as deep into the downward spiral, because we're like, oh, I've done this before, right? I've been here, done that. I rested through it and I brought myself some calm and healing about what that experience was for me about. So that is what's coming through really strongly here, is just this meditate on what's coming through in your life right now. Remember that your mind can protect you, and your mind can create structure and it can recreate new beliefs, or you can keep holding on to what you've been holding on to. This is really asking you to allow that transformation to happen in the stillness that you afford yourself. All right. So now we're going to go into Oracle cards, and this has been happening more and more frequently. I feel like more cards have wanted to come play. Maybe it's just eclipse season. I don't know. I'm going to pull a card from the Gateway of Light activation as we lead up to this eclipse. Gateway is opening for us as we transition towards this Pisces eclipse. This is so funny because our messages are a little all over the place today. I feel like we are getting this grab bag of energies, if you will. So as always, take what's for you and leave the rest, but I'm curious to see how this whole story comes together. So our first oracle card is the Sirius Star Blessing. Yes, proceed, be seen, push through. So this is very interesting, just going back to our frequency of romantic love, which may be inner union frequency or outer partnership, but then we also have rest and or solace, and this like deep nurturance energy trying to come out so that we don't have to learn the lesson harder next time. And then we have, yes, proceed. These blessings that are saying, as you integrate this next level, as you really stand in the clearing of this chapter, this liminal space, this portal corridor we've been in between eclipse to eclipse, there's something big that's going to break through for you about saying yes to your life. Okay, it's coming together more and more now. We have to retreat and rest and pause, as the Four of Swords is indicating, in order to really actually receive what is meant to be a yes that we're moving forward on. There's something big here about not rushing. We're stepping into this really dreamy Pisces energy for this eclipse, and we've transitioned out of Leo. There's so many little transitions that are happening right now that it's like I'm getting more of an impression of it than clear words about it. But it's like, hey, slow down here for a moment so you can actually land in what your yes is. We're all being called to like stand more in our power, be more embodied in who we came here to be, actually live in our joy and our passion and our purpose rather than societal bullshit metrics and doing things the way you've always been told to do them and blah, 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 right? Like we are collectively working to release that right now. Excuse me. And one of the old patterns that this card is really inviting us to break is that pattern of returning right back into the default energy and doing it the way we've always done it. So pause long enough to find your North Star. Like that's actually, when we put these two side by side, that's actually, I really like them together. because it's like sit there and reflect so you can find this sort of star to follow, your inner spark, the blessing that's calling you forward. So, all right. And then we're going to pull 3 more from angels and ancestors to support us this week. And I'm just going to ask for further clarity on this energy that's already come through so we can deepen our practice with it, or energies to support this pause, to support this experience, to support ourselves in clearing what we need to clear to go into this next level. All right, we already have some synchronicities in my life here. First of all, so much earth energy in these 3 cards. Very green, very brown, just at a glance. So we are definitely being pulled into some necessary grounding in the midst of this swirly chapter. And I haven't really spoken much to that today, but have you felt the swirliness? I know so many of my friends, myself included, I'll get into my own life in the tea, but so many of us have been going through these ordeals lately, which I think is why our 4 of Swords are like, hey, friends, you've been through some ordeals. You have been going. You have been striving to keep it together. It's time to take a little retreat back. And then as we emerge, as we get that yes, that North Star blessing, here are some of the energies that are going to keep us going and really take us to the next level. So our first card is the Lord. Take charge with authority. This is really asking us to step up and into our lives. So as we integrate the lesson of this last chapter and we go, ooh, next time, I don't want to do it that same way. Next time, because there will be a next time. Let's be so clear about that. There will be a next time. But next time, I'm going to take authority of myself and my circumstances in this way. And also, how are you going to take charge and step into your authority in this next chapter? You know, what has been coming through for you that you realize is not authentic to your leadership in the world, not true to how you are truly embodied? This is asking you, you know, step up and in. I feel like the Lord to the lady, if you will, the Lord is more about the physicality of going through the motions of doing the thing. It's the action taking. So we're being asked as we transition through this week, as we integrate these lessons, as we contemplate what's next, to begin to take those next steps with authority, even those first little few steps that are just getting us going in this next chapter. Our next card is the Stag. Trust and thrive. First of all, trust has been coming up for me left and right. Like I can't escape the word right now. So, well, I'll just share that with you all, right? Pay attention to where you're being called to trust right now, because it seems like many of us are in that initiation at this moment. But as you step back and you contemplate and you get in your own energy bubble and you really are feeling what you're feeling, you're noticing what you're noticing, you're being present with what's here, and you then look outward towards that North Star and you find it and you start to follow it and you're taking charge with authority, you're also standing in the power of your trust so that you can thrive, so that you can continue to receive what's actually coming through for you. I think that when we're in lack of trust, and trust me when I say I know what it's like to be in lack of trust, but when we're in lack of trust, it is practically impossible to feel like we're thriving. So where can we lean into what we can see, what we can trust, what we can know, what we can touch, what we can feel, what we know to be true when we clear away all the noise? And how is that actually here to help us thrive? But really, there's just an invitation to trust our gifts, our intuition, our calling, our worthiness, our divinity, as it is paired with our humanity, to trust in the beings that we are. So that is the Stag. And then our final guide is the Earth Guardian. Stay rooted and grounded. So this is where I was really feeling the presence of, yes, we're in the midst of this swirl, huge swirling, massive energy, massive waves of karmic reprocessing and relational wounds coming to the surface and leadership roles doing all kinds of reorganizing right now. There's so much of that here. We have to remember to stay rooted and grounded here on Mother Earth in our body temples, because that's the experience we signed up for, is to be here in a physical body, having a physical and spiritual experience. And so in the midst of the swirl, it can be really easy to get away, right? To kind of go up and away or down and away from our bodies and our beingness. This is reminding us, no, you actually need to stay grounded and rooted right now. And I think that that is part of the rest being indicated in the Four of Swords, is like, it can't just be idle rest. Oh gosh, I wrote an article, I think, forever ago. And or it was just such a core teaching that I taught therapy clients that I think I've written about it. But there's a huge difference between intentional rest and passive, mindless rest. And I used to use the example of binge playing The Sims for hours and hours on end and being totally disconnected and not even really enjoying myself. And then I realized 6 hours have gone by and I haven't eaten, I haven't gone to the bathroom, I've been totally dissociated, and that was not restful at all. Versus when I sit down and I'm like, I'm going to relax, and my intention here is to get my mind off of things for a little bit and just enjoy myself, get the feeling of enjoyment. And then I play for 45 minutes to an hour of something, and then I realize, you know what, I've had what I needed, and I got what I came to get, and I have shifted my perspective. I'm coming up to the end of my enjoyment. Anything more than this, and I'm going to start to have my eyes glaze over, right? Like, it's a very different experience. That is exactly what this guy is kind of saying, is like, you can rest or you can actually rest. You can be in passive rest and be like, I'm going through the motions. I'm laying here. I'm doing nothing. I'm watching my TV. I'm literally whatever you do to rest. For me, it's usually video games, right? And there is another difference of taking the retreat, going into the solace, taking the opportunity of rest that you have to also have that intention for why are you resting? You know, what is your purpose in being here? Is it to rejuvenate your body? Is it to distract your mind temporarily? Is it to ease sore muscles? Is it to invite recovery? And to hold that intention as you intentionally rest so that you can get more out of it. So you can have that spiritual and conscious touch point that says, I received this rest. It's not just a passive thing that I'm allowing to happen. It is something that I am embodying, I'm embracing in this moment, and allowing myself to receive the experience of rest. So, yeah, I don't know where that came from, but that's the message here overall is, like, we're being asked to step up and take care of ourselves and love ourselves. We're being asked to find that North Star. We're being asked to actually take the time to retreat and feel that, so that we can go to this next level and go into this next chapter after this eclipse with some of those things cleared. So I will go ahead now and recap us the whole reading with my overall impressions of what the heck this is inviting us into. So first and foremost, the frequency of this week was the romantic love card, which could indicate a deepening bond with a loved one. It can also indicate a deepening bond with yourself, parts of yourself, with your Kundalini energy, with your doing and being energy. This can be a merging of yourself and or a merging with yourself and another. So just pay attention to where you feel like you can embrace more of this romanticism for life, this love of life, especially as you rest. And what I love here, if this is indicating an actual person in your life, maybe you're being called to rest together. Maybe you're being asked to step back and integrate something together. Or again, this is within yourself. You're upgrading your self-love. I mean, I think for all of us, it is an upgrading of self-love. It's very important that we enter an era with more self-love so that we are not as prone to being manipulated as we have been, right? And the biggest invitation of this whole spread is to take this rest, this time to retreat, to process whatever you need to about this ordeal that you've been through recently, and allow yourself the contemplative moment so that you can move towards receiving your blessings. So our Sirius Star Blessing is like saying, yes, there's blessings right here for you. You just have to have this time where you can clear out whatever needs to be cleared out so that you can really receive and allow this energy on the next level. I feel like there's a big upgrade of receiving also happening. And we all, especially those of us who have been chronically giving because that was what was programmed in us, this is a big upgrade time for shifting the whole human collective and consciousness around rebalancing the equation when it comes to the giving and receiving in the world. I'll leave it at that for right now. But you can help this wave of change by knowing, allowing, receiving your worthiness, knowing it to be true, that you deserve to be in your yes energy, to be seen, and to be able to proceed in life. And then we have our three helpers here. The Lord reminding us to stand in our authority, to show up in our power, to take charge, to do what we know is right. And again, we're being asked not to rush ahead. We're being asked to take that Four of Swords retreat, to feel what we need to feel, process what we need to process, release what we need to release, and then set our eye on what's ahead. And the Lord is here to help initiate that energy when we're ready to take charge so that we can move forward. And as we do that, the Stag invites us to trust in ourselves, and by trusting more deeply in ourselves, to allow ourselves to thrive, to allow ourselves to really soak up the goodness in life, to feel the joy moment to moment that's available to us, to show up more powerfully for our cause, whatever it might be. The Stag wants us to trust in ourselves so that we can have that thriving energy. And finally, our Earth Guardian reminding us in these swirly times to get rooted, to stay grounded, to remember that the body is our temple and we need to take care of the body. Yes, we are human and divine. Yes, we are having a multidimensional experience here on Earth. And mostly our bodies have been treated in society as machines, things to grind away, to sacrifice, to be productive with, etc. No. My very loving, gentle reminder to you here is that you are meant to be homed in your body temple. You are meant to be embodied and live your life. You are not meant to grind yourself away. So, as the swirl happens and we get caught in all the societal BS, the Earth Guardian is here for us this week, remembering us to come back down to earth, back down into our body, back down into the support that is here for us, and not get so lost in the swirl of societal stories. So, that's our reading for the week, my friends. Let me know how this landed for you. I felt like it's an interesting energy, to say in the least. And I feel like that's exactly where we're at collectively right now, is an interesting energy, to say in the least. I know that there's a bunch of astrological stuff underway. We're in an eclipse chapter right now, which are always exciting. And this eclipse chapter has felt pretty intense. This Pisces lunar eclipse coming up on Friday is one of three. It's the ending in a series of three. Look back to September 2024 and September 2025, where we had Pisces eclipses. And the themes that were coming up then, the situations that were coming up then, a lot of them are coming to a head right now in different ways. And so how can we just be more gentle with ourselves? But also, as the Sirius Blessing was saying also push through, not in a forced way, but in a like, hello, I'm going to rise to the occasion of meeting my life. It's 222. So let's all send blessings to my partner as I get into the tarot, or the tea portion of the tarot and tea now. So as always, if you don't want my personal updates, see you next week. But God, it has been the swirl over here. It's been such the swirl. My partner has some chronic conditions, and like all of them have flared. And it has been a really challenging time for us, obviously, because like he has no strength. And this is a man who is a bio number 2, who's a generator in human design, who has an endurance life theme. Like, he's normally a motor and he's go, go, go. So when he is off of his feet for over a week, it's alarming to my nervous system, to say in the least. And I had shared, you know, that I'd had my own health flare up. Gosh, it's been like two weeks ago, I think now. 2 or 3 times wild, right? But, and my health stuff is still a little iffy. I've been having sort of the old ancient flare up of my own chronic stomach stuff. And so it's just been this like weird liminal space where nothing feels stable or normal or the way that it usually does, which has really caused me to slow the hell down. For one, it's been hey, what's really important? And there was a day I was messaging one of my friends and I was saying, you know, I did some kitchen stuff and I did some laundry and like I did a couple little work things, but like I haven't worked on marketing in weeks. And yeah, I've still been writing my book. I'll talk a little bit about that. Like I've been doing all these things, but like I'm not making active money right now. I'm not marketing. I'm not putting out all these materials. And it was like a full-blown stop for a moment, because I'm being asked by Spirit what's really important. And what's really important is my partner and his health and my health and my and our ability to continue to do what is ours to do, right? So for me, it's been a major wake-up call about my health, which, again, blessing in disguise, because that was my manifestation for this year of what I'm working on is improving my health. And I do feel like I'd largely been neglecting that in favor of chasing all the shiny objects that felt like they were more important for me to spend my time doing, right? And so when my time is, I'm not going to say forced, right? Because I could absolutely neglect my partner and the house and just not show up in all of those ways. But when the circumstances show up and you're like, no, I really have to confront what is important. You know, that's what this was for me. It was like, it invited me to really pay attention to, at the end of the day, what is truly good to have done, important to have done. And I feel like I'm able to be content in how I showed up. And if I am operating out of those old societal metrics of, well, I need to have worked at least an 8-hour day, if not a 10-hour day, doing administrative work or direct client-facing work, teaching, one-on-one, planning, you know, whatever it might look like. If I'm not doing that 8 to 10 hours a day, plus doing housework, right? Like, I'm just lazy, right? That is an old, ancient narrative. None of us should be working 12 hours a day. None of us should be grinding 100% of our time. And yet so many of us have to. And so I'm really just anchoring, grounding myself in the blessing that I have the opportunity right now to slow down in this way and to tend more to trying to take care of my partner, the things that need taken care of around the house, and to not have to immediately go into the panic of like, okay, and what do I do to keep us surviving, right? Slowly working on getting out of survival mode. And I'm a person who really does not spiritual bypass. And so I really try to hold simultaneously reality with with where I'm dreaming and where I'm going. And, there are absolute elements of my life that feel unstable or not survival friendly, not safety friendly. And yet the invitation is to figure out where I can continue to create more safety, stability, security now without forcing, rushing, panicking, etc. So suffice it to say, it's been a journey. I'm very much figuring out. I have been journaling excessively. I did just take a little marketing, I don't know what to call it. What does she actually call it? Like, I was in a marketing container with Darla Ledoux, aka Dila D, who her business is sourced magic. She does all these, she calls them sourced experiences. And I've been to a couple of her things over the years. And she just did this thing about marketing, but it's about our magic and being in our magic instead of thinking about marketing the traditional way. And while I still have not really, quote unquote, done any marketing this week or last week because of everything else going on, I was able to tune into the actual workshops and her teachings on Telegram. And I was able to, like I said, journal excessively. So much more clarity has come through about where I'm going. And one of the biggest things that has really landed for me is, why the heck have I ever followed a formula or paid for a formula for that matter when I am a storyteller and I know how to tell a story? And that's what's coming through for me, is to really share what I'm doing in the fullness of the magic of the expression that I was given with or born with, which is my writing and sharing creatively and having fun. And so we just had the wrap-up class just before this for this little magic marketing workshop. And I was expressing what really landed for me is that I am a druidic priestess, hobbit headmistress. And that is the structure that I'm moving towards in my life, is really allowing myself to open this magical school, the Rebel Grove, and to allow it to grow with the people who arrive right away and the people who trickle in later. I see this expansive magic available to us because at first, it's just going to be the headmistress who also happens to teach a class. And then it's going to be community members creating clubs. And then it is going to be houses or guilds or cohorts of groups with special interests. And we're going to bring in more teachers. Like, it's something that it can expand with me and the people that want to be a part of it. And I am excited to see what comes about in the quote unquote marketing, as I am on the other side of this pause, this rest, this recovery time that I am in, that my loved one is in, and not rushing. It was so distinct. My guides the other day, as I was doing a meditation in this little workshop, they were like, stop worrying about it. Stop worrying about it. You don't need to worry about it. You don't need to worry about it. It felt like they were all chattering over each other. They're just like, no, just let it go. Just be here now. It's all going to sort itself out. It's going to be okay. So that's another thing with trust coming in. And I could literally be here talking for the next 30 minutes about all of the synchronicities that have happened this week and last week since my last tarot and tea. But one of my favorites was this trust. And I was on a call with Shayna Woods, and these ravens showed up at her window as she was doing some coaching with me. And like every time something significant came through, they would squawk. And it was so magical because normally Zoom has such good noise cancellation, but I could hear these ravens loud and clear, like they were speaking right through her speaker directly to me. And that was just so fun. And then a deer clopped by and a hummingbird came to the window, and Shayna was like, oh my gosh, like this is so incredible. What's happening? This has never happened. It's like animals show up all the time with her, but like in this quick succession. And I was like, I'm just a druid. That's what it is. Like, the animals speak. It was such a fun, magical moment because it feels like I'm in this chapter of gentle, loving acceptance of my magic. One of my readers here recently emailed me, and she said something to the effect of, like, you are the collective embodied experience expressing. And I was like, yes, I'm glad somebody sees that and gets that, because that's my experience of being alive, of what I know in my soul to be true, that we're all one, that we are all the universe, that we are all human and divine and here having a physical experience, and that there is an awareness of a larger collective consciousness that we can all tune into and inhabit in different levels. And that is part of my magic. And what I'm here to do is to put that finger on the pulse of the collective and to be often in the experience of exactly what the collective is going through, so that we know we're not alone, right? We're not alone. So I don't know if there's anything else I want to share today. I mentioned I would talk about the book. So I am almost finished with chapter 10 of the second draft, not the second draft, the second book, draft 1 of book 2, which is currently called THM for short. And I am going to wrap up arc 1 with chapter 11, which puts us about at the same length as book 1 in terms of chapters to conclude a first arc. Now, book 1 had arguably 3 arcs. I'm not sure if book 2 is going to have 3 or 4 arcs, to be determined. But it is unfolding slowly, steadily, and with a lot of compassion for myself as I've liberated myself out of, Safrianna, you're not a real writer if you're not writing every single day of the week and you're not writing at least 1,000 words every day. So I feel really good about clearing all that, and just allowing myself to write when I can and when I'm moved and when the scene arrives and when the characters are like, hey, let's do this, and just have a lot more fun with it. So that's where I'm at in the midst of all the chaos and turmoil of the world. We really need to continue to anchor in a new vibration, a new way of being, a new embodiment. And I think that we're doing that together. So if I can support you, as always, don't hesitate to reach out. You can go to safrianna.com to see how you can work with me and what I'm up to. I am, of course, going to be live over on YouTube on Friday for this lunar eclipse, so I'd love for you to join me there. And last but not least, of course, join Rebel Elements. It's my completely free community over on Heartbeat. And then as the Magical School, the Rebel Grove, opens, there will be a new subsection that's added there that if you want to be a part of that deeper community and magical co-creation, then you can. You can sign up there, but you can still be a part of the free community. And I think it's a lot of fun. It's still a small group right now, but it will grow. And we're always cheering each other on, sharing our creativity and snaps of nature and what's coming through for us. It is just such a lovely space that I am glad to call home, and we'd love to have you join us there. So that's all I think I have for today. As always, the pictures will be up in the replay, so you can look at the cards a little bit closer. And otherwise, I love y'all so much. I'll see you back here in another week. Bye for now.